So this is part 2 of my very initial stages of testing the Gelelf gel plate. I've got it mounted on their backing board and I've got it sitting on some non-slip matting, which I find really helps a lot. If you haven't seen part 1, I suggest you go and have a look at part 1. Where I did my first print using this laser print. And so I've had that drying and flattening under a book but I'm going to retest it. Now, this was the first print I did with it and it turned out so beautifully. I pulled it with an ombre of yellow, pink and purple with their nice wide, let me get it for you, nice wide 8-inch brayer. So that works so beautifully. So if you haven't seen that, I suggest you go back to part 1. But on their website, they seem to suggest that their laser prints can be used many times. Now, I used my own pattern, my own image, which I laser printed on some of their paper. So I think I explained in the last video that they do sell some laser print paper. It's 86 pound or 120 GSM. It is got a satin or a silk finish to it, and it does feel quite lightweight, so I'm surprised that is 126. But I am now going to use this used laser print again, and I'm going to go again with the black acrylic Amsterdam Oxide Black and just see if there is a deterioration in the quality of the image transfer. What I found in part 1, is that the paint did not bead up at all, as it often does with a brand new gel plate, which is pretty amazing. Now, I haven't really put a lot on there, so I might just put a fraction more. And just get that out. It's a warm day in Sydney today, so I need to be careful of the temperature and it drying. So really long, soft, even strokes to get that acrylic paint evenly across the gel plate. We're trying to get rid of our brayer lines. This is the Gelelf 3-inch brayer, and I'm using the 8x10 gel plate, also Gelelf. So I'm really testing their products. They sent these to me. I requested that, so I'm going to pop that down again, and we're going to see the quality of our second print. And I'm going to use the brayer to make sure that I've got good contact. Now, I found in part 1 that it liked to stay on a bit longer than I'm used to with other gel plates. So I'm going to give it a little bit of time. And it'll be interesting to see. Usually with other gel plates, I've found that I can do this method, but it's a gradual deterioration, or there's a little bit more noise, I think I call it. There's a little bit of grain that's left in the transfer. So it'll be interesting to see. So yes, that would be typical of it. It's still very sharp, but there is some extra grain, which doesn't look altogether bad. The actual image is still excellent. It's a bit cloudy, that perspex, which is fine. You just can't see it as crisply through, but that's still a very good image. It just didn't pick up as much as the first go, but that is pretty normal. So I have also received some of their laser prints, so I will also test those as well. So I let that dry, and I will use a cool hairdryer and then come back and work out how I'm going to pull that print. I've decided just to do some very simple reverse painting. So I'm just going to pick some highlight areas to play with. It's not going to be very artistic necessarily, and I don't want to take a heap of time. And I'm just going to sort of try and pick up some highlights with the white. Plan is that I'll add some highlights just through these leaves, these stylized leaves. And I could live to regret this decision, but I've decided to use the pickup layer as yellow oxide, and hopefully some yellow will poke through. It says it's transparent, although the paint on the tube there looks very opaque. But let's give it a go. Yeah, it looks very thick, but we'll see. I'll try and make it a nice thinner layer, although as a pickup layer you really want it to be quite a solid layer. So I'm hoping I won't live to regret it and have something terrible to show you at the end of this. So really just getting in all those layers of paint, giving it a good coverage. I won't take any off, because even though I had thought I might, I think it needs a decent amount of paint there. And lay down my substrate. And allow that to dry. Let's have a little peek. I can't resist. Oh, okay, well that could look quite nice. Can you see that? The yellow might work in all those little gaps there. So let's see how it goes once it's dry. I'll put the hairdryer, a cool hairdryer on the back there, and then restart the video when it's dry. I've had this under some books just probably for about an hour to really get those layers of paint stuck down, hopefully, to this substrate. So let's see how my print went. So there's a couple of little bits still stuck there, but it's coming off Pretty good. I was pretty rough and ready with the reverse painting. But I just really wanted to test the plate. So that's really worked out quite nicely. As I said, not the greatest artwork you will have seen, but it does, it did transfer that, excuse me, it did transfer that second laser print well. We discovered that there was a little bit of extra noise or grain, but that is pretty standard. I could come back in with some Posca markers just to sort of refine some of those marks if I chose, but it was more just a matter of testing the gel plate, and I think that it's done very well. I just so happen to have a emerald green Posca and a bright yellow or orange Posca, and so I've just been having a bit of fun just throwing in a few little lines to just highlight some of the colours that are there, not colouring in, but just sort of adding, you know, a little bit of brightness into the print, which is, you know, as I said, not colouring in, not doing everything, but just giving a few areas a bit more pop. And I've done that with this orange, and I've also already gone in with my turquoise as well, and I probably might even do some white. So it's looking a little bit brighter, and I'll just keep playing. If you've also watched my video on the Gelelf product review, or part 1, you will have seen this was the very first print I did on that gel plate, which is right here. This is the 8x10 inch, which I did all these prints on. This particular band was because I lifted that laser print a little bit too soon. So different gel plates have a different response times, and so that's all part of your learning. So I laid it back down, but then when I pulled it back up, that was a bit messy, but that print was pretty good. There wasn't any beading of the paint, which is often a problem when you first get a gel plate. There's often a substance, a chemical substance on the gel plate, and there was none of that. So it took the paint really well. So that was my first print, and I like to keep notes on the back. Whenever I'm learning anything, I keep notes on the back so that I know on what and the process I used and what gel plate I used, or, you know, when I've been exploring with the silicone mats, I've done the same so that I know what I did. And there was my lovely ombre. I'm very happy with that. That was the best one I've ever done, thanks to my very big 8-inch Gelelf brayer or roller. So yes, that will get a bit of a workout. I am liking the way, let me just show you, these are very well weighted here, and so you don't have as much, you know, tipping. You just put them down and they really do sit really quite nicely on that bar. So happy with that. And I've been very happy with this surface. So that was a laser print, my own laser print on the Gelelf laser printer paper that they provided. It's got a silky finish, and it produced a very good image transfer. Then I flattened the image, and I then reused that same laser print to produce another print. Now, I've covered a lot of that with some reverse painting. It was all pretty messy, very quick, but I just wanted to see how it would lift up off the plate. So there was a little bit of grain, as I call it, a little bit of leftover paint where this paper had lost a bit of the capacity to lift up all of the black paint off the gel plate. So that's why it leaves just a little bit. But, you know, depending on your subject, that's not a bad thing either, because it can actually add to the age and the patina of what you're printing. And so that was number 3. So as I said, I've put notes on the back of each of my prints that I have done in this first printing session. I've separated them for YouTube into part 1 and part 2, and I'm sure there will be more because I have been very happy with the results I've achieved so far. And here is what's come off the new, or my new Gelelf gel plate.